I'm going to go for it. I don't know how much you're going to see because I'm trying to reach over and stuff, but I'm in the middle of cutting in. It's looking pretty good too. Okay. And that's why I've got my paint on the ground so I can use both hands up here. The key is to have a nice steady hand. And what you're going to find is you're going to have to go both directions when you're on spray texture walls. Because no matter how much you go over it one direction, you're not going to get it all. And I'm fighting with the light. I've got my light outside, and there's only, let's see if I can't get a little bit more light up there. I'm trying not to hit the ceiling, because obviously I don't want to do that, or else then if you get too much on the ceiling, then you got to decide, once this dries, you need to cut in some of your ceiling again. You know, I take off a little bit off the tip before I go. Okay. Now, I'll wipe off that edge and go some more. Key is not to get it up there too much, or else you look back and you find out, oh shoot, I just tagged the ceiling all kinds because I wasn't paying attention. And you gotta have a nice even hand. You know, you can't be real jittery. Now on this corner, I like the fact that my brush is that cut at an angle, because see, now I'm going to put it up there right like that and get right up on that inside corner, shake it a little bit, try it again. Now I can come back and get it out of that corner. See? That looks pretty good. Go back over it that way. And I have a little bit extra paint on my paintbrush, but not enough to where I should go any further. I just dip a little bit at a time, and that's why I'm using my little paint tray. That's why I'm using my paint tray down on the ground. Getting back and forth up here and holding my hands up here and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Now see, I don't know if you're gonna see this, because I might be right in your way. But sometimes you gotta get right up there. If I was down lower, I'll try to do it a little bit lower on my ladder. Okay. If I'm a little lower on my ladder, then maybe you don't get it exactly where you want it, or something like that. That's why I try to get up here as high as I can. You know, so I'm up here a little bit closer. See, I'll try this next section on not the top edge of my ladder, but the one down. I can still reach the ceiling. Oh, I've got to get up here higher because I'm over the sink area. And you've got to get good going I'm going backhand right now, and then forehand. You can't just do it one way when you're cutting in. Trust me. You'll get good at all kinds of different angles and stuff. And that's why I like this brush. I can hold it however I want. A nice straight line as best I can. And then go the other way. And it fills in those voids on the spray texture. If I get a couple extra little pieces, I can do that and shape my my brush, and I think I'm done with that. Okay. Now I'm going to work on that inside corner, and that's why when I did my my painting with the mini roller, I got up there as close as I could, so I don't have to cut in any more than I have to along here. It's just right up in there. Okay, that's all you got to do. And now I gotta cut in my countertop, and I think I'll move my ladder. Let's just see. Do this over here first, and see, getting to that corner, I come in like that and go down to it, and then slide it on down, and you can get those inside corners. That's why you got to have a cut-in brush with the angle on there, so that you can push it on there. See, like that. And I'm going to try get some of the paint off, and nice straight edge here. You don't want to get your paint built up too far on the edge of your paintbrush. Okay. That looks pretty good. I didn't have to go both directions that time. Okay, but sometimes, lots of times you will have to on spray textured walls. Yeah, you remember I had that caulked, and I caulked it with white. Well, I'm gonna have to shine the light on there. But once this dries, I may not have to. Well, I don't know. I may have to hit all that white. It's probably best if I hit it all, you know. And I can always clean off the edge of the countertop. I'm gonna go over this just a little more, because the white might show up under the gray paint that I'm putting on the wall. You know what I mean? And I want it all to look the same. I want it all to look the same. This is going to be tricky because I'm right here in the corner. And, you know, I'm going to try my left hand here. I'm actually right-handed, but, you know, that looks pretty good right there. Okay. So that, I did it, my left hand. And you'll surprise yourself after a while. Let's see, I'm just taking it off the edge, the brush, and this one there was extra white on here before, as I remember. See, now I gotta go backwards the other way, and then come in again. And I'm trying to hit all of that white. Remember, there was a big gap there from before. Well, I'm just gonna paint it all. And like I say, if I get a little bit on the countertop backsplash, that's okay. I can clean that off after, can I? I probably should have taken the cover plates off before I did the mini roller. Then I could have gotten closer with the mini roller on some of that. But before I do that, I've got to hit this edge up here, and we'll see if I can't squeeze in there. It's kind of a pain sometimes working with the camera because I'm in such a small little confined area. I guess I can go up this way so you can see. Now I got to come the other way, so I'm going to flip my paintbrush around and get right down to the edge. I'm telling you, the best way to do your door frames is to paint your door frames first and then cut in your wall afterwards. I've seen some painters do it the very opposite, and most professional painters, they can do it. You're not a professional painter, and it's way easier to cut the wall in than it is to try to paint that little edge of the door casing. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it around. See, I gotta go both directions here because there's some spray texture on there. Now I can go straight up along that edge, and I got it. So sometimes you gotta work above, sometimes you gotta work below. Here I'm working above so you can see this. But from here down, then I can do it and not be on the little step ladder. Okay. Okay. There we go. It's kind of a tedious thing. Cutting in and stuff. But take your time and you'll get better as you go. I'm going to go with my left hand here so you can see this. And I'm not building up very much paint on here at any one go. Some people do more and then you can cut in further, but you know, you're going to be a beginner. I'm showing you exactly what you're going to be up against. I don't have much paint on my paintbrush at any one time. Okay. Then you don't drip, you don't build up an edge. I got to be careful here. The power is still on to my light switches and my electrical outlet and stuff. But as you're cutting in, if you build up too much paint, you get an edge there, and you get an edge on your paintbrush, and then it's hard to cut in. Once you start and you remember what I'm saying, you'll think, oh yeah, that's why when he starts, most of the time I'll get it on the wall a little bit first. I'll kind of put a little bit like that, clean off my edge, then go cut it, then grab some here after my paintbrush is fully saturated on the edge, and go some more. Okay. Don't overdo your cutting in onto your paint that you put on with your roller any more than you have to, because it could show up depending how thick you're putting the paint on, how thick you put it on the wall with the roller, how thick you're putting it on with the paintbrush and all that, because this could flash and show up. You know, if you have sunlight, you might see a little bit of this around, and there's really not much you can do about it, because the texture of the paintbrush, putting it on a wall is different than your paint roller. Does that make sense? And I'm gonna go all the way down to that white caulking, and I'm actually gonna paint the white caulking. Now, if that countertop was a different color, if it was white, I could do the cut-in, and then I could put a nice tight white bead of caulking on there when I got all done, cleaned it up, make it look all pretty. But as it is, it's a dark backsplash and a dark countertop, so I can't do that. I really don't want to try to make a line right next to the white caulking, so that when you get all done, you see your paint color of your wall, and then you see your white caulking that it's not straight because you didn't cut in nice straight line and all that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, there you go. Now I've cut this in as best I could, and I was going to let it dry and then check out a few areas where I should cut in a little bit more and put a little bit more paint in there, right in there, even though that's all grout. And so I can get it just a hair closer in certain areas. And then, you know, you're only going to get it so good. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over this, clean this up now with my cut-in paintbrush, do a little bit better job. And then when it gets all done and dry, maybe tomorrow, I'll take my putty knife and just kind of scrape on there a damp putty knife and a small little screwdriver, make that a nice straight edge again. You know, just like I did when I was cleaning it initially. You know, see, over here I did the same thing, and like I say, you're only going to get it so close. You know what I mean? But see, now that it's dry, I can look at it and think, okay, I can put a little bit more paint there. A little bit more right there. And check it out again. Maybe just a hair in there. You know, right there. And then when it's dry, come back there with my putty knife and straighten it up. I mean, or you can leave it. You can leave it and say, well, that's as good as it's going to get. I'm not a painter, and nobody's ever going to really care or say anything, and that's probably true too. Okay. When you stand back and look at it, it doesn't look half bad, you know. But because I want it a little bit better, I'm gonna try my hand at cutting it in a little bit better along there, and then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do the same thing along the baseboard because I've already cut that in, and I'm gonna look at that with the light, and then I might clean that with a little putty knife when I get all done, all said and done. See, along that edge, I cut in really nice. With the paintbrush, I fit it right in there. Didn't get any on that door frame. Right. And then I'll look at the cut-in up here with the light. And if I think I have to put in a little bit more here and there, I can. You know, it's like I said, it's very difficult to do it if you don't do it every day, like a professional painter. Okay, so once that dries all the way, and it's not going to take very long to dry. Once it does, I'll get up there again, look at it, and hit it a little bit here and there, make my line a little bit straighter if I can, and then live with it and say, okay, that's as good as I could get. All right, see you next time.